Welcome back. If you are joining us on this episode, but you'd like to start from the beginning of Corbie's 2023 interview, just check out the description box below and click the link that will take you to the beginning. And don't forget to subscribe to my Substack for my weekly Sunday newsletter called This Week in the Sky, where I let you all know what's coming up astrologically for the next week, any retrogrades, direct motion, full moons, new moons, unique transits, and I also offer a tarot reading for all of you for the week ahead. So I hope to see you there. And now for part 2 of Corbie Mitleid's 2023 interview. How did you become a certified tarot master? What's the certification? Was it classes? Okay. Was it, yeah.
The first that I had was the Certified Professional Tarot Reader. And that was when we had the Tarot Certification Board of America. And that was a 3-hour oral exam. Not do you know the cards, do you know them upside down, but all right, give me a spread for this, give me a spread for this kind of question. Here's your spread. The person doesn't understand it. How could you change it? How do you help people find the right question? You don't really want, is my business going to be successful? You want, how do I make it rock and roll? Mm-hmm. So it was that. Certified Tarot Master is basically, I have been doing this since Moses was in diapers. I've written books. Ain't nobody as fast flipping them cards as me, honey, let me tell you. So that's how I became a Certified Tarot Master through the Tarot Guild, which is still around and a fabulous place for people to learn.
I think I actually, when I first started really getting serious about it, that's one of the websites that I found, and I think I printed out, because they had a booklet, or like a book almost, but you could print it all out, and I printed it all out, and I had it in a big binder, and I'd go through it all the time. So I actually I think I know what you're talking about. It's been a while since I looked at it, but yeah, it was very official, very like, if you want to pass through, like, not gatekeeping by any means, but it's like, if you want, to be certified, we have certain, standards. Yeah.
Look, yeah. And, being paper trained, as I call it, makes the people who don't know about psychic work from a hole in the ground feel better.
Absolutely. I mean, so, I think that's just anybody, especially psychic mediums, things like that. It's like, if you do have something, show it, and that way people feel a little bit safer with you.
Yep. Sorry, we have pollen up here in New York today.
My eyes I had to like lay down for a second and just be like, don't rub your eyes anymore. Like, you look crazy. Like, so I totally understand. So you're not only a tarot reader, you're a past life specialist, a psychic medium, and a channel. So how do you and you also seem a bit methodical about how you approach things. Like, I'm just curious, do you use tarot throughout all of it?
Or Sun, Virgo moon, Virgo rising. I tell people I'm a flake, but I'm a really organized flake.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yes, absolutely. But do you when somebody comes to you for tarot, do you pick up on a past life, or when somebody comes to you for a past life, do you pull out your tarot deck, or is everything really separated?
The first thing is, if you sit down with me, I'm going to say, okay, what's the most important stuff you want to walk out of here knowing? And if you go blank, I'll say, okay, darling, what's biting your butt? Because everybody's got one. Why? Because when you walk into a doctor's office, he takes a history first. Then he decides scalpel, x-ray, medication, what's he going to use? And it's the same thing. The everyday tour bus, house, car, job, kids, finances, okay, God, you put me here, what the hell? That is usually tarot and oracle decks. Past lives, who was I in 1642 Belgium? That's a download from upstairs. I want to speak to my spirit guide, and how's dead Aunt Mabel? That's all download from upstairs. But don't just say, I want to know some past lives, because it's not a candy store. If we were supposed to know all of our past lives, we would. But if, face it, you're a janitor in Des Moines, and all of a sudden you realize you were Napoleon Bonaparte, you're really going to want to play with a mop?
That's a good point.
When people come to me about past lives, there's usually an obsession, a phobia, a person or a place that's difficulty. And one of my favorite stories about that, because I get them very fast, the short ones. Woman came to me and said, son's 29, won't make any decisions without me, won't live more than a mile from you. This is not normal. Can you see, was there anything? And I said, wait a minute.
Mm.
So it took me about 30 seconds and I said, okay, 1944, Utah Beach. So this is D-Day. I'm seeing your son. He's a soldier on the beach. He's got a bunch of shrapnel in his leg. He's pretty badly wounded. You're his commanding officer. You scramble over the dune. You drag him to safety. You take some shrapnel yourself, but you both live. And I opened my eyes and she's very pale and she says, can you see my rank? I said, yeah, you were a sergeant. She goes, he's called me sergeant since he was 3 years old and we've never known why.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That actually, because there are a couple of things that I'm still trying to kind of get my reins around, like get a little bit easier, to download it, because I'll get like when somebody says something and it feels off, I don't know what happens to me. Like I just start going into a trance, and everything kind of gets into like a tunnel. And one time somebody was talking to me about how crazy loud it was on the subway, but like in an intense, like such an intense way. And so all of a sudden I started getting this download, and I was like, I saw them at what the hospitals that they drag people up to out in like World War II, like if you were out in the middle of the field,
like a unit.
right? Yeah, exactly. And I was like, you got pulled all the way up. Everybody was screaming, and I was like, and you're a nurse. This person was a nurse, and all of these people were screaming around her. And she is an actress in this lifetime, and she goes, that actually explains for me why I wanted to be an EMT until I was about 8. And I was like, yeah, you constantly hear all of the painful sounds around you because it's so amplified from this lifetime. And it makes it so much easier when there is like an issue than just somebody saying, who was I? Like a party trick,
Yeah.
Oh, that actually gives me a little bit of like, okay, did I do that right? Like, I mean, what just happened? And it's like, yeah, it just shoots down. That's incredible. So when you just said you could all of a sudden do hands-on healing and talk to dead people out of nowhere.
Yep.
And I don't know if you can, but can you elaborate on that at all? Or is it just like, nope, just one day yes, one day no?
In the early 90s, I was working on my own past life stuff. The big hit was I went to a place called the Rhinebeck Aerodrome here in the Hudson Valley, and went because my then boyfriend wanted to go see all the planes. I could care less. I didn't know anything about World War I. Can we go to Woodstock afterwards because it's next door? Well, I saw the British plane and the American planes and the French planes and the Italian planes, and then all of a sudden there was an Albatross D5A followed by the Fokker triplane. That's the Red Barons that Snoopy goes after. And there was a soundless explosion in my head. And as I saw those planes fly, the two things in my head were, there's a story behind that, and I flew that one. So that was the beginning of an avalanche of needing to know who I was in World War I, which we found out. Now, I was a World War I pilot, but because I'd done the work and also worked with a woman out in Colorado who was able to do a lot of the reaching across the veil, if you will, I began to get soldiers showing up in my apartment in Atlanta from World War I. And, they would come in, cute little blonde guy with half his face gone because it had been blown off. And I was a doorway for them. They all want to know who won the war. Then you tell them it's 100 years ago. You get them to forgive the person that killed them and forgive themselves, the people they killed, and then you can get them across to the light. This is only a fragment. The soul is already up there. But this is a fragment of personality that got stuck in the gray spaces. When I started doing that, the way my guides have me talk to dead people is very weird. I don't know anybody else that does it this way. But rather than fish, because it's vague, I get their dog tags. For instance, my father, Jerome Richard Dorkin, who died in 2001 at the age of 80, tells me nothing, gets me into the energy. And they give me charades. They smoked, they had surgery, they had an accident, whatever. And I just let my guides do it. And so I get really specific stuff. When I do, then I open the door and people can talk to their dead people directly. But like I say, I remind them I am not dial-a-dead. If Aunt Rose is on a field trip, she won't be by the phone. Now, You have to tell me, is this a G, PG, R, or X-rated podcast? Because I have one story that I will adjust to wherever you want me to go.
Oh, no. No, please. I would love to just hear the story.
This is the reason I won't do mediumship except privately. Years ago, there was a biracial same-gender couple. The black partner had died and her white widow wanted to speak to her. Now, grew up in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, nice little Jewish kid. I have manners. But what came out of my mouth as soon as I connected in flawless urban ebonics was, well, shit, if it ain't my white bitch. And I'm going, oh my God. But the woman in front of me started laughing because that is the exact phrase her partner, Isabel, used as she walked in the door after every business trip.
Yeah.
You can't do that on stage. You know, George Carlin, the 7 words you don't say. And also, because I don't censor.
Yeah.
It could be a very painful thing. It could be deeply needed closure. That's not anybody's,
that's
entertainment.
Right. Absolutely.
I do, however, do past life galleries because I can pull them down generally very fast. They may not be wildly detailed, but it's enough. I don't know if Louisville ever had First Nights. We have First Night Saratoga up here. It is a citywide New Year's Eve celebration, family-oriented, blah, blah, blah. And so I was doing past life galleries. And a woman, everyone would write down what they wanted to know about, and a woman handed me a slip that says, why is it that we are so interested in USO and World War II and the home front, blah, blah, blah. And remember, this is New Year's Eve, so everybody is all bundled up in their dark coats. And I say, okay, you were part of an Italian family, 5 sons. Everybody went in various branches, Army, Navy, Marine, whatever, to the war. And so because you knew that the guys in the USO were just like your brothers, you did a lot for them. You were very, the scrap drives, meatless, whatever. You did your bit for the war. Well, one of the brothers was in the Air Force and got shot down. And your mother said, we won't wear black. It was an honorable death. We will wear sky blue. And so your family wore sky blue for mourning. But that's why you're interested. And she stands up and she unzips her jacket. She takes it off. She says, sky blue has always been my favorite color. That was the color of the sweater she was in. Chills. You can't make this up.
Chills. No, you can't. And it's so personal too. That's the other thing. It's like when you're, trying to open up or you're, it's everyone's usually just blocked, I feel like, or you're, working on your power, you're working on your energy. But that is, you can't filter yourself. You may want to start with people that care and love you. They don't care what you say. It's okay. Just so you can get used to it. Because it's like stuff like that. Who would ever think of saying something like that? That's so specific and so personal, so subjective. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And remember, if you'd like to know what's going on in the week ahead, or if you'd like to get a weekly tarot reading, go ahead and subscribe to my Substack, and you will receive the Sunday newsletter, This Week in the Sky. Thank you, and I will see you soon. Take care.